Bonjour à tous, c'est Jean. So today we're going to talk about the expectation and reality regarding the French language. Okay, we have expectations, of course, and when you learn French with books, with apps, and then realize that it's harder than expected, especially when listening to French or even speaking yourself. So now I want to talk about this, and also I will give you a few tips, a few things that might help you to sound more French and also help you to understand French natives. So I just released a course about the topic of French accent. It's called 21 Days Accent Mastery. And in this course, I explain and I give you a lot of examples. I basically show you everything you need to know about French pronunciation as a whole. So you can understand why you cannot understand French natives. You can finally understand with this course why you don't understand and what you can improve so that you can express yourself and make yourself understood. So anyway, you can check the link in the description. There's a 10% discount. Just click the link and you will know more about this course. But today we're going to talk about the expectations and reality. So first of all, it's something you should not forget and you should have in mind, is that written French and oral French is completely different. They are different languages. That's a bit strange to say, but it's really different languages, especially in French. When you read Spanish or German, you kind of expect to hear what's written in this language, because most of the letters they're pronounced when you read them, you pronounce them, and it sounds correct. In French, first of all, you have a lot of letters that are mixed, and they make different sounds, and they are not pure letters. They have combinations, and also regarding the pronunciation, you have different, like the accent of French language, which is like we connect everything. It makes something very difficult to listen to. So about this topic, I really suggest you to not study too much French with books. If the accent, if the problem of making yourself understood by natives, if the problem of you have your listening skills, they are not as good as you want, you start to focus on the sounds and start talking and repeating the sounds instead of keep reading and keep learning more vocabs. That's not actually going to help you a lot with that. So if you have the opportunity to use an oral based method like Assimil, Michel Thomas, I don't know how to pronounce it in English, Pimsleur, or Rosetta Stone, these oral methods, they're even better than nowadays the apps they do. They create some apps like Memrise or Duolingo. They are good, right? But these methods that I just mentioned, they are older than in the internet, and actually they focus on what's essential, which is understand and be able to pronounce the sound. That's only the thing you need. It is the only thing you need to know. You don't need to really know how it works. Of course, you have this curiosity of, I want to know how it works so I can be able to create French by myself, create French sentences by myself. But actually, it might slow down the pace where you actually speak and repeat things. So really focus on oral-based method. They're really efficient if you struggle with your accent. Don't use videos. Don't look at materials. Just close your eyes, listen to audio, repeat. It's basics, that the old methods of language methods, they kind of work like this. You had CDs, audio tapes, and actually they are really efficient. And now, because we watch videos, we are distracted, but also we don't pay 100% attention with what we hear, because we look at a video, we watch a video at the same time. So a percentage of our attention is taken by the video. So if you close your eyes, it will help you a lot, very, very much. So first, so this is the first part, okay? So now I'm gonna give you a few things that are very, very different from expectation and reality. And why it's different, because you read sentences, even if in Duolingo, they speak slower. Sometimes the French teacher, they tend to speak slower so that the student understand. But I don't think it helps. Actually, it can help to feel better, but actually it doesn't help to improve your speech and your understanding. Or you have to be very, very like progressive, but you have to understand how things work when French speak fast. Okay, so first, the first tip is, in oral French, we never use the ne part of the negative. In French we have ne something pas, or ne something plus, or ne something jamais, ne jamais, ne plus, ne. Everything in the negative, we have this ne part, all right? But we don't use it. It's not useful. And a lot of students, they tend to keep that part and drop the pas, for example, which is not what we want to do. We want to keep the pas, the plus, the jamais, the personne, this part, the second part. This is the important information we want to keep. But the ne part is, it's just like the do not. You have do not in English, and it's just like the do. We don't care about the do. The important information is not, don't. It's not. This is important information, and we want to keep it. But the ne, it's we don't need it. It's useless. So why need it in oral French? So you can forget about it. Good news, right? So you can just remember of pas. So example, in formal written French, by the way, written French is always formal. And that's a problem with French. It's seldom that you can actually see written a French, oral French. It's hard to write, like you will have a lot of, the sound will not, the writing will not really make sense. Actually, I did it on my course because I really want to help you guys. So anyway, you don't use the ne and you use the pas. So example is je n'ai pas faim, right? Je n'ai pas faim. I'm not hungry. You will not say je n'ai pas faim. You will say j'ai pas faim. J'ai pas faim. Okay? Pas here stays because it's important information. Faim, it's another important information, right? But pas, it's a negation, right? So it's important. The second thing is we never use nous, the first person of the plural, in oral French. We use on, right? We use on. So, on a faim. On a faim, on n'a pas faim. Right? On y va. On est parti, on a mangé, on mange, okay? It's shorter and it's easier to pronounce, on, it's just a vowel. Nous, especially when you have conjugations after that, because the nous, it's conjugated with nous avons, right? But on, you will keep the third person as a conjugation. So on a, right? On a instead of nous avons. It's two syllables instead of three. And, we don't like to waste time. We like to speak fast. So, we save as much as we can. Okay. So we shorten the words. Of course, French language, oral version differs a lot in that we use a lot of slang, not vulgar, but just slang a lot. And for car, for work, for money, for everything that surrounds your life on a daily basis, you see this everywhere, every time, all day you talk about things. You just use slang instead of it because we get bored. French people, they're really creative, so we get bored of using the same words. It's not original. We like to be original. Anyway, so there's also a book on the website that you can download with as an MP3 and stuff, so you can learn the different level of speech in French. I encourage you to get this book because it's really, it makes sense completely. Okay, then we have some way to say. For example, instead of saying n'est-ce pas, we'll say hein, non, right, like this. N'est-ce pas is too formal. Okay, c'est pourquoi, or c'est la raison pour laquelle. It's too formal and too long. Okay, in oral French, we'll say c'est pour ça. C'est pour ça. Ouais. J'ai raté mon bus, c'est pour ça que je suis en retard. Okay, instead of j'ai raté mon bus, c'est la raison pour laquelle je suis en retard. Right? It's too long. Okay? And we never use inversion while asking a question. Inversion is that you invert the verb and the subject. Instead of saying vous habitez où? The very formal French would say où habitez-vous, right? You start with the interrogative pronoun. But in oral French, it sounds a bit weird and too formal. So you just have to use the affirmative version with an interrogative intonation. So, vous habitez où? Vous habitez où? Okay? With the interrogative intonation, okay? So, if you do that first, it will be improving your French. But there's more. There's also linking words and, that link all the words together. We'll see that in the future, of course. But it's important to know that if you have something to remember about this episode, is that written French is always formal and always not what you want to expect when you listen to French natives. Okay, so make this a habit to close your eyes, listen to audio, and repeat them. It will improve a lot. Why? It's also because as you pronounce things, it will help you to understand them. You cannot just understand. Try to understand at least, and never speak. It's connected. So the more you listen, of course, the more you get the vocab, but speaking will actually make yourself, it will make this concept yourself. And it's not only your brain that is working, it's another topic, we talk about it, I think. It's not your brain, it's also your body and your mouth. They have memory, okay, the muscle memory. So it's really important that you work this part too. It will help. Okay, I hope it helps, and see you next time.